Hello, John from Peter Tyson. Back on familiar ground, let's do the Beosound A5 audio system from Bang Olufsen. Let's just crack on. Beosound A5 is a premium wireless portable Wi-Fi and Bluetooth speaker from Bang Olufsen. In usual Bang Olufsen style, it is of course available in different colours and finishes. The Nordic weave being the least costly, dark oak sits in the middle, and the spaced aluminium being the priciest and most premium feeling. Boasting 360-degree sound, carry handle, tactile control buttons on top for track, volume, play, pause, and the usual 4 favourite buttons to save your favourite radio stations and playlists, and even a handy Qi wireless charging pad built into the top. Perfect for some emergency juice into your phone or perhaps your wireless earphones if you're out and about. Around the back there is a USB Type-C port for charging, which also doubles as an auxiliary line input. Bang & Olufsen claim up to 12 hours of battery life, but common sense is needed. This would have been measured at very low volume. At mid-level volume listening, you could probably halve that battery life, and if you're playing very loud indeed, you might get 2, maybe 3 hours of playback, particularly if you're using that Qi charger to charge your device on top. That is also going to suck battery life. Whilst on the network, it will support Spotify and Tidal Connect, Chromecast and AirPlay 2, and B&O Multiroom and B&O Radio if you like to use the Bang & Olufsen app for iOS and Android. It will group with other Bang & Olufsen audio systems, particularly the modern ones if you want to play the same tune around the house, or it is of course compatible with other AirPlay 2 and Chromecast audio systems. If you are out and about away from a network, you will of course have to rely on the Bluetooth 5.3 connection. Disappointingly, only the SBC codec is available for Android phones. This means higher latency and lower sound quality. If you're using Apple, you fare a little better because AAC is available. This is a better quality, but it would have been nice to see some higher quality codecs available for Android. Talking about being away from your network, A5 almost looks too pretty to take outside, and I imagine the wood or the weave covers wouldn't fare that well if they get too wet. But nevertheless, it is IP65 rated, making it safe against splashes and dust, but don't immerse it. It is not dunk proof, it can't get really wet. Underneath those very lovely covers lies a 0.8 inch tweeter, 2 2-inch full range drivers and 1 5.25 inch woofer, all driven by 4 onboard Class D 70 watt amplifiers. Along with all of that, there is a built-in microphone so that A5 can send out a sound pulse into the room and tailor its sound performance based on its surroundings, something B&O call room sense. There is, however, no voice assistant built in. The sound is very Bang & Olufsen, although tuned with slightly higher bass, and this works well for larger spaces and particularly outdoors. It sounds almost as good as it looks, but I still prefer the more refined sound of the Beosound level personally. That's not to say that A5 is disappointing in any way. It still sounds really quite impressive, particularly when using network streaming services. All of this can of course be adjusted with the Bang & Olufsen app. Sound profiles, beam width, the sound curve, the calibration can be rerun, favourites can be stored, and you can update software and you can tinker to your heart's content. You can stereo pair 2 Beosound A5s, so you can have one for the left channel and one for the right channel, and it does sound very good when you do. But this makes more sense to me if they're going to remain static and plugged in. In terms of alternatives, it's hard not to mention the Sonos Move 2. Sounds very good for its size, albeit not quite as good as the A5. The A5 is just that bit more high fidelity and a bit more refined. Sonos has a better quoted battery life than the A5, but then it's not quite as powerful. It is very solidly built, although not quite as pretty as A5 and not quite as premium feeling. This may not be a bad thing for some because you won't be quite as frightened to take it outside. The Move 2 will measure its sound performance and tailor its output in real time using its onboard microphones. Very clever. Sonos does not support Chromecast built in. A little bit annoying. You can stereo pair them just like Beosound A5, and you can have 2 Sonos Moves for around about the price of one Beosound A5, so it's definitely worth a listen and considering. If you can live without the portability and you don't need the speaker to move around, then the Naim Muso QB2 is very well worth a listen. It has similar streaming options to Beosound A5, exceptional build quality. Some may say not quite as pretty, but beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and it's the best sounding of all of them, and it still costs less than Beosound A5. Like most Bang Olufsen products, A5 is something of an oddity. It's just that little bit different. It's not quite like anything else. It's very premium and it does sound good, and for some people only the A5 will do. It's built beautifully. It is meant to be kept for a long time, which does justify some of its price tag, because all of the modules, the streaming engine, the covers is all meant to be replaced and recycled rather than end up in landfill, which is a nice touch. There are lots of alternatives and good options for that sort of price, but for some people there will be nothing quite like the Beosound A5 or even Beosound Level or Beosound 2. If you want to come and try some alternatives or come and try some Bang & Olufsen, you can of course give us a call here at Carlisle or at our Newcastle store on the 2 numbers here. Any questions, of course, leave them in the comments. Until then, you'll see me in the next video. Take care.